Enemies to the east. Enemies to the west. Enemies to the south. Enemies to the north.
Welcome to Powcast Shorts. That's right, folks. Enemies to the east, enemies to the west, enemies to the north, and enemies to the south. Cersei Lannister, the Queen of Westeros, has quite a bit of trouble brewing. She's created quite a bit of enemies, but the only person she has to blame is the woman looking back at her in the mirror. Now, we know that this new season is going to primarily revolve, at least the beginning of this season, around her final clinging grip on the Iron Throne. But a new season of Game of Thrones would not be Game of Thrones without a little bit of speculation. We know that there's going to be some battles, man. We know there's going to be war, there's going to be blood, but we also know there's going to be death. So the big question that everybody wants to know, this new season, season 7 of Game of Thrones, who gonna get got? That's right, we're gonna speculate on who we think's time is coming to an end in Westeros. Valar Morghulis. Number 1, Cersei Lannister. That's right. The writing for Cersei is practically on the wall at this point. She is the Queen of Westeros, and normally the royals, the one who sits the Iron Throne, hasn't had a very good track record of late, and it also doesn't help that she's got a horde sailing across the Narrow Sea with the sole purpose to exact revenge. Pretty much over for Cersei. This is going to be her last stand. This will be the season of Cersei's last stand. And Daenerys, we can guess, will probably not be beaten since she's got 3 very large dragons at this point, and Cersei has made quite a bit of enemies. She's practically pissed off all of the great houses of the 7 kingdoms at this point. She has no remaining ally. Everybody's turned their back on her, or she's turned her back on them. The North wants justice, the South wants revenge. There's a horde approaching from the east. Her last stronghold in the west is under siege. Like she said, she's got enemies in all directions, and as fast as this season's purportedly paced, I would not be surprised if we see Cersei's downfall by the middle of the season. That's right, folks. I'm predicting Cersei gets got before the end of episode 4 of this season. That is my first prediction. Number 2, and this should not be a surprise to anyone, Jorah Mormont. This dude practically has been turning into a stone man for the past, 3 seasons now? You know, we know that it's slowly progressing up his arm, but I think this is finally going to be the season where they really start eliminating the cast a little bit, because they are brewing the finale, and a lot of stuff's going to happen. I do think Jorah's going to be one of the ones who gets the axe this season, but I think he's going to go out in a blaze of glory. That character, there's a certain redeeming quality about the guy who betrayed his queen. So Jorah, in probably a battle either in Daenerys' honor or protecting her life, he's going to go out. I don't think he's going to stick around and become a stone man. I don't think we're going to go that far. He's going to die either tragically or heroically before that point happens, and it's going to be this season. Number 3, Brienne of Tarth and Podrick Payne. These 2 characters have had very minimal effect on the plot for a while now. We barely even saw Brienne the past 2 seasons. And spoiler alert, fair warning for everybody, in the books, Brienne has already been axed at this part in the story. As far as, once we get to this part of the story, of course, we're in uncharted territory, and the show writers have kind of switched some things, cut some stuff out. Brienne's character is still around and still having an impact, which is great, but ultimately they're going to have to start narrowing down the cast. They're going to start bringing everybody together, start tying up loose ends, and Brienne just happens to be going through some areas in the show in enemy territory that she happened to die in the books, being the Riverlands. Now, in the latest trailer, we did see her in the Eyrie. Maybe Sansa meets her there. Maybe there's a chance this prediction is completely wrong and she survives everybody. But I just feel like at this point in the story, with the actress starting to get more and more roles in bigger movies, the character having less of an impact on the story itself, I do think that Brienne of Tarth's days are numbered in the show, and I think this is going to be the season that something surprising happens, because Game of Thrones loves the surprises, and she's a beloved character. So, it just kind of fits that they would take a beloved character and, kill them or put them in a wedding or something. Number 4, Peter Baelish, otherwise known as Littlefinger. He was a big piece in the new trailer that just dropped not too long ago, trailer number 2 for season 7. This guy, this scheming scumbag, has thrived in Westeros since the very beginning, and I believe we're finally going to see him make a mistake in this new season. I think he's going to make a power play with Sansa. He's going to come at odds with Jon Snow. And speaking of Jon Snow, he may even know his true lineage, Peter being someone who, one of the few people that would have been alive and of relevance back when all of that took place with Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark and everything that happened with the Tower of Joy. He was alive, obviously, when all of that went down. So he may know who Jon Snow really is. Number 5, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. Who has been the lone wolf since the very beginning of this show? It has been Arya Stark. She's always been off on her own. And I think that the writers, the guys who cut the trailer, they included that little saying for a reason. And of course, this is Game of Thrones. As we know with Game of Thrones, there's always that surprise, shocking character death. And a lot of times it happens to involve the Stark family or someone close to the Stark family. I would not be surprised if they pull off another one this season and it being Arya Stark. She has that list, that death list, that she keeps repeating all the time. She's going to go after Cersei. She's going to go after the mountain. And Cersei's not going to make it through the end of the season. So that means if the writers, if the showrunners want that confrontation, they're going to have to do it this season. So Arya is going to go on a trek to finish her kill list. And she's going to meet the mountain. And maybe she takes the mountain down. Who knows? We've got to end that character at some point. Maybe the mountain's going to stick around until we get the Clegane Bowl. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the Hound that takes out the mountain finally. Or maybe they team up and go after Cersei together. Wouldn't that be interesting? But somehow Arya Stark is going to end up back in King's Landing, finish and complete the circle, and there, on her attempt to kill Cersei, Cersei gets one last punch in at the Stark family and takes out Arya some kind of a way. Arya Stark doesn't make it past finale of season 7. That'll do it for this edition of Palcast Shorts. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you did, please click that like button, share, and subscribe to our channel. And you can also check us out on our Facebook fan page. And also remember, we have an actual podcast. This is just Palcast Shorts. Check out the main podcast over at our website and also our Facebook fan page where we share a bunch of different information as well as comment on movie news and what have you. So, hope you liked it, and I will catch you on the next edition of Palcast Short.